Explorers broke into a Russian military base and found the ruins of a space shuttle. In May 2017, a team of intrepid explorers traveled to a remote Cold War spaceport, where they made an exhilarating discovery: a decaying icon of space-age technology, apparently abandoned in a vast and dilapidated hangar. The team in question included several urban explorers from Europe: Bob, Frederick, Jan, and Morton. With a decade's worth of experience inspecting abandoned buildings around the world behind them, the team have published videos of their adventures on a YouTube channel called Exploring the Unbeaten Path. Moreover, the spaceport was not entirely abandoned, meaning that security personnel could apprehend them at any moment. Undeterred by the possibility of spending time in a Kazakh jail, though, the team went ahead with their mission. Their journey to the spaceport involved several days of travel through some spectacularly remote and hazardous terrain. Bordering the nations of Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, landlocked Kazakhstan is home to the Earth's largest dry steppe region, the Kazakh steppe, which covers 1/3 of the country. The Kazakh steppe is a vast, arid, and inhospitable expanse of grasslands and savannas. But owing to the fact that the area is sparsely populated, it makes an ideal setting for a secret spaceport. Not only does the wide open terrain provide an abundance of hard-to-reach hiding places, but it is also perfect for the reception of radio communications from outer space. The spaceport was, in fact, established by Soviet decree in 1955. Known as the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the site was actually the world's very first space launch facility. And what's more, measuring by 53 miles north-south by 56 miles east-west, the spaceport is an extremely large complex incorporating the world's largest industrial railway and 2 airports. Today, Baikonur is leased to the Russian Federation by the government of Kazakhstan, and it retains a mixture of abandoned and working facilities. In fact, ever since the U.S. Space Shuttle program was shut down in 2011, Baikonur has had a monopoly on missions to the International Space Station. Of course, this means that the site is also heavily guarded. And as the explorers approached it from distance, they became increasingly uneasy. First they saw a car with its lights on in the desert. Proceeding with extreme caution, they covered the final stretch on foot. This proved to be a sensible decision, too, as they soon encountered booby traps in the form of metal spikes protruding from the ground. The explorers arrived at Baikonur under the cover of darkness. Then, recording their exploits with an infrared camera, they scrambled over a high wall and slipped inside a hangar. "It's the 3rd bad night we had. I look like a zombie," said Bob. "But I don't care, because there's nothing better than waking up next to this." Indeed, the sight of a decaying Buran space shuttle parked below must have made their morning. Developed as a rival to the U.S. Space Shuttle, the Buran shuttle, whose name translates as snowstorm, was a key component of the Soviet space program during the mid-1970s. And like the U.S. Space Shuttle, it was designed to perform multiple trips to space. In fact, the Buran shuttle was superior to its U.S. counterpart in several ways. For example, its payload capacity was 5 tons greater than its American equivalents. But despite its technological strengths, it was almost never used. Indeed, the Buran completed its first and only orbital flight on November 15, 1988. You see, due to a lack of financial resources, the Politburo was forced to suspend the Buran program shortly afterwards. The project was officially retired in 1993, 2 years after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. And it left behind several shuttles in various states of completion, 2 of which were disassembled in 1995. Unfortunately, the only Buran with flight experience was destroyed by a falling roof in 2002, leaving just 2 surviving craft, a prototype and a test model. Today, these precious vehicles are slowly decaying in hangars at Baikonur Cosmodrome, a testament to the never-realized ambitions of the Soviet space program. But despite the failure of Buran, the behemoth spaceport can claim a number of historic successes. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union launched the world's first satellite from Baikonur. Dispatched to a low Earth orbit, Sputnik 1 broadcast radio pulses to Earth for 21 days until its batteries ran out. Meanwhile, as the United States scrambled to develop its own space program, the Soviet Union continued to rack up accomplishments thanks to its launch facilities at Baikonur. On April 12, 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin made history as the first man in space. Today, the future of the spaceport is uncertain. In 2004, Kazakhstan and Russia entered into a joint venture to develop a new launch complex at Baikonur for Russian Angara rockets. And while he project stalled in 2010 due to a lack of funds, Kazakhstan still hopes that the first rocket will blast off in 2025. Of course, Baikonur is a site of exceptional historic significance, meaning huge potential for touristic development. Indeed, there is already a small museum at the site. However, the logistical difficulty of getting to the Kazakh steppe makes it a place of limited appeal. Fortunately, however, as long as there are abandoned Soviet facilities, there will always be daring urban explorers who want to document them. And thanks to one team and their aerial drone, which performs beautifully within the hangar's vast interior, we are able to see one such facility up close.